Hey everybody, it's Craig Berry with Acopia Home Loans, Atlanta area's #1 mortgage professional. I'm coming to you today, once again, just outside of my office here in Ackworth, Georgia, trying to enjoy some of this weather before it gets too hot to do this. Hopefully you're enjoying some nice weather where you are. I wanted to talk a little bit today about closing costs, what they are and how much they are, because they're a big part of getting a mortgage loan. So first of all, closing costs are the fees associated with obtaining a home loan that are paid on a purchase or refinance transaction. There are always going to be closing costs associated with getting a loan. That's not to say that there aren't such thing as a no closing cost loan, but no closing costs are generally something where you're going to adjust the interest rate higher so that you can get a credit towards your closing costs. So there is no free ride. You know, that old saying about if it sounds too good to be true, it typically is. Same rules apply, but that's not to say that it wouldn't make sense for you to look into that higher rate for a no-cost loan. It just depends on your situation. So you'll definitely want to talk to your loan officer. I'm happy to talk to you about that as well to see if it makes sense. So back to closing costs. They range, as far as the amount, from 2% to 5%. That's a big range. And the reason is because of where you live, the type of property that you're buying, and the type of loan that you're getting. So those three things can play a huge role. But they consist of three parts. Those three parts are lender fees, third-party fees, and amounts to set up your escrows, also known as your prepaid items. So lender fees are things like underwriting fees and processing fees. Third-party fees are things like appraisal, credit report, attorney fees, and whatnot. And then the last one, to set up your escrows, those aren't necessarily closing costs, but they are costs that are associated with getting a home loan. So they're important to understand what those are, but those things can vary again. And think about it, if your property taxes are $1,500 or $5,000, when you factor that into that 2% to 5%, you can start to see why it would be such a big discrepancy between the two. So those are just a few of the items that are associated with getting and why it can vary so much. I'll tell you, based on a recent survey, that the average closing cost for a $150,000 loan was $3,700. So, you know, and most people, as a general rule, will just use 3% if you just want kind of a hard and fast, kind of quick one. But that's where closing costs come into play, how much they are. And one other thing I wanted to say about closing costs is the fact that why they can vary so much as well from a percentage standpoint is, think about it this way. An attorney's going to charge you the same thing to close a loan on a $50,000 loan as what it is on a $500,000 loan. So from a percentage standpoint, it's going to seem like it's a much higher percentage, and it is, to close that $50,000 loan, whereas a $500,000 loan is going to be a lower percentage. But then on other items, such as title insurance, that's going to be based on other factors, such as purchase price and loan amount. So there's so many things that can affect those amounts. That's why it's always good to work with somebody you trust, work with somebody who you feel like they're going to shoot you straight, and then can also send you what a breakdown of those things are and explain them to you properly. So that way, when you do shop, you can shop and compare apples to apples, because that's a big thing, because it doesn't matter if you're getting the lowest interest rate if you're paying a whole bunch of money to get that rate, or vice versa. You don't want to get a no closing cost loan when in the long run that doesn't make sense for you. So again, it's important to shop and compare, but the most important thing is to work with somebody that you know and you trust. And I would love to be that person. So if you have any questions about closing costs, about how much you're paying, you want to compare them and how they relate to the interest rate, or anything else, real estate or mortgage related, I would love to talk to you. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me. As always, my contact information is going to be there on the bottom of the screen. I'd love to chat. Thank you so much for watching today, and until next time, I hope you make it a great week.